video, we are going to discuss comprehensively about the India-Bangladesh relations. As we know that the Bangladesh is in news because of the current political developments and the political crisis in the Bangladesh. So that you are already aware. So we are not going to go into that part. But this is the context because of which this topic becomes very important for civil services UPSC mains exam of 2024, as well as if they don't ask in 2024, definitely they are going to ask in 2025. So let us cover this topic more comprehensively, including all these aspects, that is what is the context and what developments, what led to these kind of development, including the map and other parts. If you see this topic can be covered in GS2, India and its neighborhood relations. From that topic you can relate this particular topic. If you see the previous year questions related to the India-Bangladesh relationship, you will find that what type of questions UPSC has asked. In 2013 they asked that protests in Shahbag Square in Dhaka in Bangladesh reveal a fundamental split in society between nationalist and Islamic forces. What is the significance for India? So quite similar, there are some issues. Today also there are issues like the nationalists and the Islamic forces. There are attacks over the minorities there. So similar kind of situation is there. So a very probable question can be asked. In 2007 UPSC asked India's response to the political crisis in Bangladesh. 2003 they asked like what are the major issues or major irritants in the India-Bangladesh relations. In 2003 UPSC is asked how India can benefit from the good neighborly relation with Bangladesh. Actually, in this discussion, we are going to integrate these points and try to address the India-Bangladesh relation in more comprehensive way. Okay, so let's start. In this video, we are going to discuss first about the developments, what is happening currently and what were the reasons behind that. Second, a very brief about the historical relation, major events between the India and Bangladesh. Second, we will try to figure out the map because in international relations map drawing is very important. So here I will show you the different locations which are important in Bangladesh and India. Next we are going to discuss about the significance. What are the convergence point between the India and Bangladesh relationship? That is the positives about the India and Bangladesh relations. Second, we will discuss about the divergence. That is what are the challenges especially in the context of the current relationship between the India and the Bangladesh. What are the challenges being faced, that we will going to discuss. Then next is the way forward, and lastly in the conclusion. Okay, so let's first cover what actually led to the protest and that kind of political crisis in Bangladesh. First is that the first reason is that government's heavy-handed approach over the protesters. The youth, especially youth, were initially protesting peacefully. However, when the government adopted high-handedness, that means adopted the force, adopted strict curfew with suit-on-site order, actually that protest became violent and the current situation developed. The protest was against the reservation of 30% in civil services for the freedom fighters. So this was the issue. But this was not the only issue. There were multiple issues. For example, economic crisis was also one of the issue. After the pandemic, that is 2020, economic slowdown, global slowdown also caused the Bangladesh economic slowdown that led to the rise in the unemployment rate and especially the garment industry, which is very much dominant in the Bangladesh economy. Actually that went into the crisis and that led to the economic crisis and resentment among the people, especially the youth. Next is the eroding democratic values. For example, during the parliamentary election in 2014, 18 and 24, there were instances that many a times the opposition parties boycotted. In the 2024 election also, the main opposition party boycotted the election. As well as during the election there were low turnout as well as the violence. So these are the signs of the lack of democracy in the Bangladesh. Next important point is the use of hard power to maintain control. For example, Digital Security Act 2018 was implemented to curb the voice dissentment against the government. So that is the hard power being used by the government that led to the protest. Next is the increasing economic inequality because of the bank failures, bank scams, expanding list of defaulters coupled with the rampant corruption. This led to the inequality and anger in the minds and hearts of the people. So these are the 5 important points because of which the current situation emerged in the Bangladesh. As we have seen, there has been question on this also, that what are the different factors for the current development in Bangladesh. I think in 1996 UPSC has asked. So, but those questions are not important, but that shows us that what level UPSC can go in a particular topic. Okay, so next, brief history about the India-Bangladesh relation. In this, the first important point is Liberation War of 1971. We all know that India has supported a lot in this Liberation War. India supported the Mukti Wahinis, training, capacity building was provided by the India. Next, India-Bangladesh Friendship Treaty in 1972. This makes the foundation or bedrock between the friendly relationship between India and Bangladesh. Next, in recent times, the major achievement or the positive about the India-Bangladesh relation was the land boundary agreement of 2015. Okay, so these are the major historical events between India and Bangladesh, and this can be used as introduction also, saying that 1971 war where India supported, and after that Indo-Bangladesh Friendship Treaty makes the bedrock between the friendly and the good relationship between the India and Bangladesh. However, the recent developments like the political crisis led to some kind of issues between India and Bangladesh. So in that way we can introduce questions related to India-Bangladesh. Let's see the map about the India and Bangladesh. This is the map of India. This is the border. Okay. Next is this is the Bangladesh border. Okay. We know that there are 2 major rivers. This is Ganga river and this is the Brahmaputra river. Both flows from India and then comes to the Bangladesh. One thing, this is the Tista river, and we know that here Tista water dispute is there between India and Bangladesh. Next, this is the Kusiara river. Recently, India and Bangladesh signed agreement in 2022 related to the Kusiara river. There is a connectivity project between the Akhura in Bangladesh here and the Agartala in Tripura in India. This is the rail line constructed between the India and Bangladesh. There are some important ports like Chittagong ports. This is Mongla port and this is the Kolkata. So there has been agreement between the India and Bangladesh for the use of the Mongla and the Chittagong ports. So this becomes very important. One of the very significant location here is this one. This region is known as the Siliguri corridor. Siliguri corridor. As we can see, the Bangladesh is quite close to the Siliguri corridor. It makes the border. So protection of the Siliguri corridor, Bangladesh becomes very important. So that we will discuss in the significance of Bangladesh for India. Okay. So the first dimension of that significance is geostrategic significance. In geostrategic significance, the first point is that Bangladesh makes a gateway to Southeast Asia for us. For example, the projects like the BBIN, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal Motor Vehicle Agreement and BIMSTEC. These are the initiatives India have. India is also the part of these initiatives which helps India to connect India with the Southeast Asian countries. Then proximity to Siliguri corridor, as we discussed in the map also, Siliguri corridor protection, for the protection of Siliguri corridor, it is very important to have the friendly relationship with Bangladesh. Next, counter strategic encirclement. Counter strategic encirclement. As we know, strategic encirclement, that is the development of different infrastructure projects across the Indian Ocean region by China to encircle India strategically. If you want to counter that, since Bangladesh is important, Bangladesh is one of the important stakeholder in the Indian Ocean region, that is especially in the Bay of Bengal region. Having the support of Bangladesh is very important to counter that strategic encirclement, that is a policy of string of pearls by China. Next important dimension is the internal security dimension. In this dimension, combating cross-border terrorism from the from the Bangladesh. For that, Bangladesh cooperation is important. As well as there are insurgent group in northeast India also. To counter that also, we need support from the Bangladesh. Then, for example, eradication of Jamaat-e-Islami in Bangladesh was an achievement which was possible because of the support of the Bangladesh. Next, we know there is the Golden Crescent. From the Golden Crescent, drugs trafficking into India is very common. If we want to control this drugs trafficking or the human trafficking, we need the cooperation from the Bangladesh in terms of the intelligence sharing, in terms of joint patrolling and along the border. For that, we need support of Bangladesh. From the geopolitical point of view also, two dimension, that is the regional geopolitics. In regional politics, as we know that the Chinese dominance in the South Asia is rising. If we want to counter that, we need support of Bangladesh to counter China's growing influence in South Asia. As well as for the success of Act East policy, Sagar, BIMSTEC, joint exercises, overall in the region of South Asia, the cooperation from the Bangladesh is very important for the success of this initiative. For that, we have these kind of initiatives. Along with that, we have exercise Sampriti, exercise Bongo Sagar, that is the naval exercise. We have the cooperative engagement with Bangladesh. Next important, in the global geopolitics, Bangladesh is a supporter of India's permanent membership in United Nations Security Council. Next is the economic dimension of cooperation or convergence. India and Bangladesh are having $13 billion of trade in 2023 and 24. Bangladesh is the largest trade partner of India in South Asia, while India is the second largest economic partner or trade partner in Asia after the China. So economically they are convergent with each other. The second important point is that India and Bangladesh are discussing free trade agreement which is under the negotiation. Next, for the river water sharing, which is important for our hydroelectricity as well as the irrigation, which is going to help in the regional economic development of states like Assam, West Bengal. This river water sharing agreement also makes very important pillar. For example, Ganga Water Treaty of 1996, as we discussed earlier, Kushiara Agreement 2022, and ongoing dialogue on the Tista Water River water sharing agreement. These makes the pillars of river water sharing. Next is the energy cooperation. India and Bangladesh have friendship pipeline as well as the power export agreements to support each other's countries and have the energy relationship with each other. Then for the regional connectivity, as we saw in the map, India, Myanmar, Thailand trilateral highway is important. Then Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal corridor. Then inauguration of Akhura Agartala cross-border rail link, as we saw in the map. Then agreement on the use of the Mongla port and Chittagong port. These are the important pillar of economic relationship between India and Bangladesh. From the people to people interaction and the cultural and developmental cooperation between India and Bangladesh, first is the people to people ties. As we know, there are large number of Hindu Bengali population in the Bangladesh, as well as there are joint celebration of Mujib year, as well as there is Buddhism, Hinduism, Islamic cultural practices and cultural symbols are present in both countries, and through which the people of one country can interact with the people of other country. Next, India has been supporter to the Bangladesh for the rehabilitation and the refugee of Rohingya, especially the persecuted Rohingyas. So India is providing support here, and both are collaborating. Next is the climate change collaboration in United Nations CCC, as well as in the Bay of Bengal region to mitigate disasters like the cyclone. Both countries can collaborate. This is also the point of cooperation. However, there are point of divergence, challenges in the context of, especially in the context of the recent development which is taking place in the Bangladesh and impact on India. The first point of divergence is the regional instability. We had seen already coup in Myanmar, Afghanistan instability, as well as in the Pakistan there is instability. Now Bangladesh also become an unstable state. This is going to create security challenges as well as the can have the trickling effect in India's security also. Next is the political instability. If a new government may include radical elements, that is the possibility that can complicate India-Bangladesh relations. In the regional geopolitical dynamics, we know there are the Pakistan and China can take over the opportunity to increase their influence in the Bangladesh. That is not going to be a good sign for India's point of view. Next, Bangladesh is an active partner in the Belt and Road Initiative. That is an example that how the Chinese influence is still there and it can increase considering the present situations in Bangladesh. Next point is internal security point of view. This kind of issue can lead to the rise in extremism in those areas, especially in the border area, can lead to the cross-border terrorism, illegal migration like we have seen in the 1971 crisis can take place, and after that we have seen a lot of insurgent group developed in Assam because of the influx of migrant and change in the demography in those regions. Next important point is the economic. FTA negotiation is progress. These kind of development issues between India and Bangladesh can lead to the stagnation of the progress in the FTA between two countries, as well as sharing of transboundary river waters, especially the Tista water river sharing may become very difficult between two countries. The next point is the people to people relationship. Especially there are attacks over the minorities in the Bangladesh, especially Hindus, Christian, they are attacking those things. And recently there has been reports that within India also some have attacked the Bangladeshi Muslims in India. So these kind of incidents can create trust deficit between the people of two countries, and that lead to the issues in the people to people relationship. At the end, what can be the way forward? The way forward is that first we need to support the popular expression. We need to go with the demand and that the will of the people of the Bangladesh. If any government is formed, then we need to collaborate with that government, which is based on the popular support and the democratic need. Next is the expression of readiness to expand the bilateral ties. We need to release that we are ready to expand our bilateral ties with the current government also. Next, early conclusion of the India-Bangladesh Free Trade Agreement. We need to negotiate, we need to expedite our dialogue between the Indian and the Bangladeshi counterpart to finalize the free trade agreement between two countries so that we can boost our economic cooperation. Next, we need to resolve the Tista dispute as soon as possible so that through the accelerated diplomacy and the confidence building measure. Next is we need to build the regional connectivity projects in a much faster way so that like the projects like India-Myanmar, Thailand Highway, BBIN agreement, this should be completed as soon as possible. Then strengthen border management through technology, joint task force and regular dialogue to reduce the conflict. Also, we need to proactively support Bangladesh, especially in the resolution of the Rohingya crisis. Next, we need to boost people to people ties through cultural exchange, tourism and the educational collaboration. Then collaborate on the climate change and the disaster management with the joint river basin and the coastal projects. At the end, we need to ensure safety and security of diaspora at the both countries. In the conclusion, you can use Prime Minister Narendra Modi actually termed the current relationship between the India and Bangladesh as Tsunami Adhyaya. Tsunami Adhyaya, that is the golden chapter. It means, this is a Bengali word, it means the golden chapter. Okay, so present challenges requires proactive cooperation and diplomatic engagement to maintain that Tsunami Adhyaya, that is the golden chapter. So this is the comprehensive analysis and the discussion on the India-Bangladesh relation, covering especially considering the present developments in the Bangladesh. Thank you so much.